So there are prisons, people who were in at the time, maybe not screws, prison officers, but plenty of lads will tell you, there were prisons you feared going to, because you're going to get smacked about, knocked about, beat up, leathered, however you want to call it. Winson Green, Birmingham, maybe Brixton, Strangeways, where I used to work, fearsome reputation, the block screws. Maybe Armley or Durham, lots of them. Prisons you go to, certain individuals are just be getting leathered. Here's the thing, not everyone has been a Charles Bronson, now known as Charles Salvador. I know lads, normal lads, who've had beatings, good hidings. It's not teaching anyone anything. A lot of lads that received them beatings went on to absolutely fight the system, the prison service, the establishment. Your thoughts in the comments. I don't normally do this, but you know, prison officers, somebody like Charlie's coming to your nick. Do you give him a good hiding on arrival because of who he is? Do you give everyone a good hiding so it's across the board, nobody gets away with anything? What are your thoughts on that? I've heard ex-block screws at Strangeways proudly telling their stories, how they've broken someone's jaw, somebody's come out for a shower, looking the other way, one arrowed him, yeah, I broke his jaw. It's impressive hearing them stories, I'll tell you. It really is. And people don't talk about it. These people that have told me stories that happened 25 years ago. And they're still fearful of me repeating that story. You either go with it or they're against you. I got told in no uncertain terms, if I'd have been a screw in the 70s and 80s, too young in the 70s, but in the 80s, I wouldn't have lasted long. I'd have had the shit kicked out of me. 30-year men. Yeah, we didn't put up with people like you. Decent, honest people with integrity. Treating people and speaking to people how you want to be treated and spoke to the sen, as my nan used to say. Again, my first book. It's not a blatant push, but Strangeways, a prison officer's story. Just out of interest, go on Amazon, have a look at the negative comments, the 1-star comments. I did 30 years. I never saw the amount of incidents or action that he saw in one day. No, because you're probably a lazy ass screw who kept out of the way. Just beat the shit out of people, didn't actually do any prison work. Went to the pub every dinner and got drunk. Anyway, back to Charles, possibly up for parole this year. For me, if he has parole, the last one, the public one, very public, there were some positives. Yeah, his personal officer gave a good account of his behaviour. I remember, and this could keep him inside for another 2 years, I think it was mid 2024, an absolute scumbag who arrived on Charlie's wing went to have a pop and he gave him a couple of digs. That could get brought up, keep him inside. One of the main things about Charlie they've talked about is him not being able to manage his violence in the future. He's an old man now. He's been a very violent individual. Just recently I was talking to someone who has a good friend who managed to go on to have a successful career outside the prison service. But at mid-20s, in a fight with Charlie, had life-changing, career-changing injuries. Powerful individual, Charlie, and violent. Kicking back against the system. There's some that kick back on the out. They go in prison and they're violent. Others, the system makes them violent. Violent individuals. So they brought up everything. He got a 4-year recommended life sentence for taking a teacher hostage round about 1996. Even that guy now says he's done his time. And what's he want, Charlie? What's he want out of it? He wants to get out, obviously. His mother's old and not going to be around for much longer, I would think. He's just lost a brother. Barefoot, walking in grass. Hugging a tree. I'm not a tree hugger. I can maybe see why he'd want to do that after being incarcerated for almost 50 years there or thereabouts. Go to a greasy spoon. That'd be a day, wouldn't it? Going to a greasy spoon with Charles Salvador. Big fry up, fried bread and the like. Big mug of tea. I can see why he'd want to do that. Go to a chippy. Sit on a wall and eat fish and chips. Simple things. So what do you think probation and the like, the parole board and the prison service have done for him since his last parole hearing? Because that's what it's about. You know, he's had a pretty calm 6 years, apart from defending himself against the creature last year. They moved him to Wood Hill not long after his parole. Was the most violent, dangerous prison in the system. Strangeways now has that title, which why that creature from Southport, and I should have thought that myself, won't have gone there. Every prison that's inspected becomes the most violent and dangerous prison. Wood Hill, small units and the like, staff from everywhere, detached duty, other prisons. It's been like that, keeping it running for years. I talked to one lad with there. He says different staff every day, Mr. Samworth. Different faces every day, Mr. Samworth. It's not going to progress, Charlie, because that's one of the things, weren't it? They're not going to send him to Cat D because he won't cope. People were talking about him not being able to use a mobile phone and the like. I'm going to put something to you when they're talking about not being able to manage violence, one of the main reasons they want to knock him back. Gary Glitter, Paul Gadd, people like him, people who like children. Do you think they can manage their urges? Because they get out on parole, don't they? Lots of them. And now, people like Gary Glitter, Paul Gadd, are not even going to prison. We've had one local, just recent, 32-year-old, third world country and religion, took it upon himself to lay with a 13-year-old child. You know what I mean? But the judge, what a good person she is. And it's not the first person she's let go free because, yeah, probation. You see, this person, this 30-year-old, had a family. He worked hard. It was his first offence. So she didn't imprison him. It's sickening, to say the least. Good luck this year, Charlie. I believe they should let him out. Thanks for your continued support. God bless you all. Thanks for coming. Hey up, Brian. We're going to say hello, kid. There you go. Owl City.